Hi there, I am Holly Mcdonald with the Costa Mesa Pod, where we talk about all things concerning the lifestyle, businesses, and activities that make Costa Mesa such a great place to live. Today, I have a wonderful treat. I have a local photographer who has a really cool niche specialty, and I will let her tell you all about it. Hi there, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Please go ahead, introduce yourself, introduce your business.
Yeah. So my name is Reshma Sondagar. I'm a mother of two, and I'm what I like to call a legacy preserver. I like to tell people's stories, whether you're an individual, family, or a business, through imagery, through film, through design, because I feel like life is so busy these days. The more I can take off your plate and help you with, the better it is for the both of us.
Yes, and I know from looking at your website, you tell the story of a family or a person as they're potentially going through different phases, so you can capture that for them.
Yeah, I mean, most of the work I do is with mothers. Being a mother myself, I resonate most with that kind of role and journey through life. And so I often like to work with expecting mothers because when we start our process from the beginning, I'm able to kind of help preserve their journey through motherhood from the very beginning when they're pregnant and as their family grows. It was funny because one of my clients once said, they're like, it's like as important as choosing a pediatrician. If you choose the right photographer and the right person to work with from the beginning, they grow with your family and they're able to kind of give you this full story as you kind of go through all the stages.
Yeah, you're right. What kind of styles do you tend to focus on?
So I customize the session for each family. I try to focus on more of that emotion. I always like to get, obviously, the portraits that every family likes to have, but I really like to focus on images that are going to help you as a mother or father kind of remember what it felt like in those moments. Whether it's images of connection, images of love, laughter, because those are the types of images that are going to bring you back, 5 or 10 years down the line and be like, oh my gosh, I still remember how she tightly gripped my hand or how he would tug onto my shirt or, all those little things. And so in terms of style, I would like to call it more of like an emotional storytelling type of style. I like to work with natural light. And being here in Costa Mesa, we have some beautiful options and backdrops to work with. So in every client kind of comes in with a different vision, but we have lots of options, and I kind of customize it based on what they're looking for.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned, our area and our scenery. Are there any spots that you tend to favor or that your clients tend to favor? Like maybe they've seen it photographed before and think that would be a nice backdrop?
Yeah, I mean, I get a good balance between people who are traveling to Costa Mesa or California from elsewhere on vacation. They'll often go through my Instagram or my website and be like, I want that spot. Sometimes I kind of have to be mindful and say, okay, well, that was shot in June or, in November. And it kind of looks, as you know, very different at different times of the year here. But yeah, I feel like a lot of people gravitate towards the beach. They love it, especially with young kids. I feel like it really allows them to have their little personalities, run around without kind of feeling like, oh my gosh, we're here for a photo shoot and we got to put on our faces. And I really like to let the families kind of just be themselves and love on each other. So I try to choose a background or setting that kind of works with the family and their personalities.
Awesome. So what got you started?
Oh gosh. I don't know if I have a definite this many years, but I will say photography's been part of my life ever since I was a little girl. My dad owned a camera store. Actually, he still does and won't retire. Up in Canada, that's where I'm from. And so he, growing up, I always went to work with him and had cameras part of my life and documenting our family vacations. But it wasn't until I started my motherhood journey that I thought I would take this passion for photography and actually build a business around it. So I would say probably in the last 5 years or so is when I really started to think, okay, you know what? I really want to help other mothers do exactly what I'm doing for my own family.
Yeah, so you've definitely been surrounded by it for your
Yeah.
life, but I love the way that you've kind of crafted it into something that's passionate for you, like that has a lot
Yeah.
of meaning, and that you can help other people find that and express it too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's really important, especially with the work I do. I really get connected with my clients. And having gone through a lot of those journeys, the ups and downs of life and motherhood, and being able to connect and really see them and be able to draw those emotions and that story in their kind of journey with me, it really helps. And I'm so grateful for every client that I get to work with and who trust me to kind of tell that story for them.
That's like, it's very intimate, like people, you're really
Absolutely.
getting into their personal lives a little bit. So, tell me a little bit, like when somebody reaches out to you, say they see your photos on Instagram or they've heard about you, what is like your process? What can they expect?
Sure. I would say my process is probably a bit more unique than what you might see with a typical photographer. It's a lot more of an involved process. It's really for somebody who wants me to take everything off their plate and kind of cater to all of their needs, from like the planning, how they're going to use those images after and outside of the digital world. So it really just starts with obviously when they inquire through my website, I set up a call with them. And that's when I really get to know what their needs are, what their vision is. And from there on, if we start working together, I actually go to my clients' houses and we have a whole session planning appointment where we talk about wardrobe. I have a client wardrobe as well, so I bring along some options with me, or we look through the closet. Yeah. Yeah. And I will say, most parents and moms, and I'm sure you could relate, say, like, that's half the battle of planning a session.
Yes.
Figure out what to wear, how to coordinate everyone, what to buy. And so my entire process is designed in a way to kind of give you back time with your family by taking it off your plate. And I really just try to make it as seamless and stress-free as possible. And so, yeah, that's kind of how the beginning of the process goes. And most of my clients will tell me what their intention is. So, for example, a lot of moms will be like, I have all these blank walls in my home and I've intended
Yeah,
on putting photos up.
same.
We all have
Oh, yeah.
intentions, I will say. I feel like every mom has this intention that, like, I know I'll get around to it. And the reality is, life is busy. The kids grow up so quickly. Just when we think we're going to preserve one chapter, we start a new chapter. And, we're like, it gets overwhelming. What do I preserve? What do I print? Where do I print it? What style? And so I take all of that off your plate. I come in, look at the decor of your house as well. And based on what your house looks like, I'm able to recommend frame options. Everything is custom done for your needs and what your taste is like. And so it's a really curated experience for somebody who kind of has that knack for wanting to preserve this chapter, but also wanting to have a beautiful way to display all those memories.
Okay, so you are like full service. I mean, you're even bringing clothes, but you're also helping people to almost like design their home
Yeah.
with the stories that you're telling. And I think that is really, really smart.
Yeah, yeah. I've as of late been referring to myself as like an interior designer for your memories.
Oh my
um,
gosh, that's
it,
perfect.
yeah, because it truly is. I mean, I'm sure you've gone through it. When we get a digital gallery, we might post them on social media. We might share some with our family and friends online, but then it just goes onto the cloud. And I think a lot of what I've created with my brand comes from a bit of my own fear of, 20 years down the line when my kids want to reminisce and say like, okay, what was it like then? And then we're going to have all this digital clutter of images. And if we don't create intention from now of how we're preserving our childhood or our kids' childhood or our own story as mothers, our own journey, I feel like it's going to be really overwhelming. And so I really am mindful of having some intention behind each session we go into.
Well, you know what they say, a picture tells 1,000 words, right? So
Yeah,
literally you are helping to like express that for people on whether it's on their walls or, you know, whether it's in their social
album.
media
Yep.
too, like how they want to preserve that. I do think a lot about how hard it is to find the photos when when you post
Yeah.
them. Like I was just going through wedding photos the other day. We have
Yeah.
like, 300 and it's like, oh my goodness, like just getting through all of that clutter, like you said, yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to have all the memories, but then what, you know?
Yeah, I think like our parents' generation, for a lot of us, used to print the photos and, have the albums. But that's also because there was maybe a few from each stage of your life. Now we have like 20 photos from one day, if not more, And so fast forward 18 years of, your child's life and more, it's a lot. And I really just want to help families slow down and choose what those memories are that they really want to hold on to.
You're just making me think. This is totally off the cuff, but I'm a realtor, as you know, and oftentimes when I have people that are going to sell their house,
Yeah.
they might have all these beautiful family displays of photos up, but it's recommended that they declutter and take away the personal effects. But since you're like a designer as
Yeah.
well, it's almost like you could have this whole other like side hustle or just even incorporate it into some shoots where you're just taking some photos that would like fit their whole vibe and style of the house,
Yeah.
but not necessarily be so personalized,
Absolutely.
and then, yeah, I mean, it's like, it's art, basically what you're doing
Oh,
anyway, but I mean, you're just making me think from a realtor's perspective about the things that we, give as advice to people.
yeah, absolutely. And I think also from like the work that you do, when somebody buys a home, oftentimes, change could be uncomfortable for people, as excited as they might be to enter a new home, especially for children to go from maybe a home they lived in and they were comfortable with to a new home. And sometimes I do work with a lot of people who are entering a new space and they're wanting to fill it with a bit of comfort. And so I kind of come in and help them do that and make it go from like a house to a home.
Oh, yes. Yeah, absolutely. So I am curious, have you been in Costa Mesa a long time? Are you from here? What's your kind of backstory?
Yeah, so actually, I have a interesting trajectory, but I was born in Kenya in East Africa, and I moved to Canada when I was 3. I grew up there and met my husband while I was traveling and working in Panama. And so he's from California. And so we've lived here ever since we got married. So that's about 10 years now. And so I've lived in a lot of different places. And I will say, the whole time I've lived in the United States has been in Costa Mesa, and it is definitely home now.
Yeah, yeah, that is cool. You have like literally a worldly perspective on it.
Yeah.
And now you're running a business, raising a family, like
Yep.
all of the things. That's great.
Yeah. Thank you.
Aside from obviously the location being great for your photography business, is there anything regarding the lifestyle that you think works like hand in hand with your business? You mentioned the beach, for example. I know that that's a popular place to do photo shoots, but do you feel like it gives you any advantages to have warm weather all year long, or something to that effect?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel very grateful that we live somewhere that has the sun all year round. I mean, everywhere has the sun, but we get sunny
Yeah.
days, and I think we take it for granted sometimes here. When I lived in Canada, not every day ended up with a sunny afternoon. So even though we sometimes get that marine layer in the morning, we get to have that beautiful afternoon and evening, and that really helps. So I would say, yeah, having the weather and all of that makes a huge difference. And also, like I was saying, there's also so many different, I think even from Costa Mesa, within 2 hours you could be in somewhere so different, whether you're going to San Diego or you're going up north to LA or you're going to Joshua Tree, or we have so many options just from where we live, that make it really great for anyone that is looking for like a specific setting for their session, or just for the vacation when they're out here. So yeah, I think what I think of is just we have so many options and a lot of variety.
Yeah, and I do love that you mentioned before that, you have people that come here on vacation and seek you out for the photos to like tell their story, whether it's just like the
Yeah.
story of their vacation or something that they're celebrating. I think that says a lot. They see the beauty in your photos and like the craft of what you're doing.
Yeah, and like you're saying, like we from the hills to the beaches to the mountains to the city and the urban, like we have a great range of things to offer around here, and so I'm really grateful to be running this business from Costa Mesa.
Amazing. So, can you share where people can find you if they want to learn more, see, some samples of your work, get in contact to book a session? Where can they find you?
Yeah, I would say to start with my website, so reshmasondagar.com. On there, I have all my information and an inquiry page, and that's probably the best way to get started by setting that. And as well, same on Instagram or Facebook, Reshma Sondagar is my handle. And so please pop me a DM, send me a message. I'd love to get on the phone and chat and see kind of how I can help you guys.
Yeah, definitely go deep with these people. Go see their homes. Go figure out how to dress them up.
Yeah, and that I think that's the beauty in it. For someone who's just maybe looking to update some images and kind of move on, might not be the right fit. But if you're someone who's like, I need more support with this, I need more help, I'm your gal. I really just want to make an impact, and I say that I want to give you something that's going to mean more to you in 20 years than it does today.
Yeah, well, I really do like your idea of calling yourself an interior designer of memories. I think that's so clever, and it
Yeah.
really does kind of differentiate you too, and like the purpose behind what you do and what sort of product you're delivering to your clients. So that's so nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure to have you, and I hope everybody checks out your website and your Instagram. They will be impressed and reaches out to you to find out more.
I appreciate that. Thanks so much, Holly.
Thank you.